Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and this is a very exciting video because we are talking about the two debut 4K Ultra HD releases from Blue Underground. We have 1979's Zombie, directed by Lucio Fulci, and we have 1980's Maniac, directed by William Lustig. Both of these movies have been released several times before through Blue Underground, but this is their 4K Ultra HD debut. And in the time that I've been kind of going through these movies to review, a note, anytime Serial at Midnight covers something like a review like this, we've done the work. I don't ever review something I haven't watched or spent significant time with to educate myself. We're not in this for freebies. We are in this to inform you about what's worth your time. So I've been working on these for about a week, and in that time I've been talking with the Serial at Midnight community. Facebook specifically, this conversation came up. We were talking about how certain movies just get released multiple times, and for these independent distributors, it becomes almost like a proving ground, a testing ground. How many times, physical media people, how many times did we buy The Evil Dead or even Army of Darkness? You know, certain movies are like the testing ground where a company knows they have an audience willing to buy a certain movie, but will they buy it on this new format? So I remember, I bought Evil Dead VHS, then I bought it several times on DVD, the remastered versions, then the Blu-ray, then of course the 4K version. You just buy these things over and over because those companies use this information to know what audience is there, what will support these releases on these new formats. So if we want new unreleased 4K movies that we haven't had in any format before, we got to support stuff like this. This is what paves and pays the way for future releases. So the question then becomes, if these are the new 4K versions of these movies, are they worth an upgrade? And I have to say, just yes, they look fantastic. It's worth noting too that this is Blue Underground's first foray into 4K Ultra HD, but they have beaten so many companies to the 4K thing. It's amazing, you guys. It's amazing that in this current market, there are certain companies that still have not embraced the 4K Ultra HD format. I don't want to name names, but I feel like I have to at least say a Criterion Collection. They position themselves as like the pinnacle of cinema, and yet no 4K yet. So Blue Underground, good on you guys. I'm so proud of you for doing this. And I'm here to support you guys with this Blue Underground. I'm all about this. These movies look fantastic. So the previous 2018 remasters for these were, yes, those were wonderful. The movies had never looked better. Those were new 4K scans of these movies. For Maniac, it was the film was on 16 millimeter, so they scanned the 16 millimeter elements. For Zombie, it was a 35 millimeter, so they went back to that and scanned it. So those were new scans in 2018 for the 3-disc versions, those versions of that, but they did not have 4K disc versions. So that 4K scan was brought down in quality to fit onto a Blu-ray. So it's 1080p. Yeah, it's a 4K scan. Yes, it looks better than it did before, but it was still on a 1080p Blu-ray. Well, now it's not. Now it's on a 4K disc. And so you get the full 4K transfer. There's no loss in quality here. This is, and if in case, I don't want to tell you guys things you don't already know, but I feel like it should be said, because I get questions, you guys. I still get questions from people asking me if Blu-ray is better quality than DVD. Of course it's better quality than DVD. A Blu-ray is double the quality of a DVD. Everything, the amount of information that it carries is double a DVD. And now a 4K Ultra HD release is double the quality of a Blu-ray. So this is going to be 4 times better than a DVD and twice the quality of a Blu-ray. But if the transfer is not done well, then there are issues to take into account. Luckily, I'm happy to say these look absolutely amazing. These transfers are stunning. The goal of any 4K Ultra HD presentation, for film at least, it gets a little muddier when we get into modern digitally shot stuff, but the goal for a film shot movie on 4K is to bring that cinematic experience into your home. And that means the grain. Lord help me, people think grain is the enemy. Film is grain. There is no film image without grain. I don't particularly like my grain to be tampered either. I like my grain to just be glorious and moving and fine and active, and that is exactly what we have here on these movies. They're fantastic. This is, if you saw these movies in a theater on opening day, first showing of the day, they might have looked this good, but this is probably better. I mean, it's really that good. So let's talk just a little bit about each movie. I don't want to, we've talked about this stuff before, so I don't want to necessarily do a full review here, but I will say that, as Stan Lee would say about comics, every issue is someone's first issue. So you want to not assume that people know everything they need to know. So every video at Serial at Midnight is someone's first video. So I'll give you a kind of an overview. Zombie, 1979, an incredible zombie movie from Lucio Fulci, one of the masters of Italian horror. Some people say that the Italian movie industry copied Hollywood. I think it's probably kinder to say that they were influenced by them. They would look at what was happening in Hollywood, be it the biblical genre, which led to the Peplum genre, the Western, the Hollywood Western, which led to the Spaghetti Western. They would look at whatever was going on in Hollywood cinema, and then they would chase that success. But in doing so, you're bringing in these European directors. There's this dreamlike quality that comes with Italian cinema. So it always had its own unique thing. And we get, from the success of Dawn of the Dead, we get Zombie. And it's chasing the success. It is chasing the success of Dawn of the Dead. But what it does, what Zombie does, is so incredible. And whereas George Romero's zombie movies are kind of like social commentary, this movie, I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of social commentary here. This is just like visceral, voodoo-based, like we've returned to the White Zombie, not the band White Zombie, the movie White Zombie with Bela Lugosi. We've returned to this idea of the undead, the voodoo-created monsters, basically. And they're going to get you. They can walk underwater. They do not have to breathe. They do not have to. It's amazing. And the terror, the horror that Fulci is able to drag out of that concept. You have never seen anything like the things you see in this movie. I'm telling you guys, if you're a horror fan and you've never seen Zombie, you don't even know. I mean, listen, there's a 1-minute introduction with Guillermo del Toro for Zombie. And he's like, you just prepare yourself. You're about to see things you have never seen before. And he is 100% right. I don't even want to tell you what the stuff is. You need to see it for yourself. But there are things that in Hollywood movies you would not see. They would cut away, or they would like divert at the last second. This movie doesn't. It just goes straight into it. And so I'm showing you guys screenshots right now. I should say, I think I have 11 screenshots for each movie. But these, of course, this video is rendered in 1080p, but you're probably not seeing it in 1080p because YouTube is going to compress the absolute life out of this. This is probably 720p. And so just know that what you're seeing in these images are about 1/4 of the quality in a moving image. And then there's grain, you know, when you have an active grain pattern as well. A freeze frame doesn't always make it look, it makes it look kind of gritty, and that's not how the movie looks. It doesn't look gritty. The movie looks very, very clean and clear, and that grain is active at all times. So just know these are just for illustrative purposes only. These are not to show you 4K quality. These are just to show you scenes from the movie and kind of give you an idea. So let's go through the special features. I think that's enough about the movie. It's cutting edge. It's incredible. There's the 1-minute introduction with Guillermo del Toro on disc 1. By the way, let me reiterate, if you do not, there is no Blu-ray copy of the movie. So you're not, if you have a Blu-ray of this, you're not double dipping. You are not purchasing this movie on Blu-ray again. There is no Blu-ray of Zombie or of Maniac. There's a Blu-ray special features disc, but the movie is not on Blu-ray. The movie is only on 4K Ultra HD. So if you do not have a 4K Ultra HD setup, you will not be able to watch the movie. Just public service announcement. It's very important. And if you're planning on upgrading to a 4K Ultra HD, this is the one you want, because this is the way to go. But I say that, but see, if you do that, you're also losing the CD soundtrack from the previous release. So Blue Underground has been very careful to make sure that fans who have supported this in the past still have some equity in their previous purchases, which I admire. That's actually really cool. Okay, we have a 1-minute intro with Guillermo del Toro. We have a 33-minute documentary called When the Earth Spits Out the Dead with Stephen Thrower, the author of Beyond Terror, the films of Lucio Fulci. We have trailers, posters, and still galleries. We have 2 commentaries. One of them is new. Well, it was new on the 2018 version, so it's been brought forward on this release from the one that came out in 2018. Then there's a vintage commentary on here as well. The new commentary has Troy Howarth, who literally wrote the book on Lucio Fulci, and the second commentary has some of the actors and the Diabolic magazine editor Jason J. Slater. What else is on there for the first disc? So we got 34 minutes of featurettes on the first disc, and then 2 commentaries. But the second disc is where this thing really comes alive. Zombie disc 2 special features are Zombie Wasteland, a 22-minute feature with the stars, the actors of the movie. We have a 10-minute feature called Flesh Eaters on Film, which is an interview with a co-producer. We have Dead Time Stories, an interview with the co-writers, which runs 14 minutes. We have World of the Dead, which is an interview with the cinematographer and the production and costume designer. That runs 16 minutes. Zombie Italiano is a 17 minutes. I have the timestamps here. A 17-minute interview with the special effects and makeup artists. We have Notes on a Headstone, a 7-minute feature, which is an interview with the composer. We have All in the Family, which is a 6-minute interview with Lucio Fulci's daughter, Antonella Fulci. And then we have a 10-minute interview with Guillermo del Toro called Zombie Lover. So he intros the movie, and there's a 10-minute feature with Guillermo del Toro where he talks about what it was like to see the movie in Mexico when it was first released, and how it just blew him away and how it felt like a dream. So that brings us to Maniac, 1980, directed by William Lustig. This stars Joe Spinell, who I think most of you guys are going to know from Rocky. He was in Rocky. He was the guy that Rocky worked for at the beginning of the movie. He was the leg breaker, the thumb breaker for Joe Spinell. And this is a movie that kind of is in the tradition of a Psycho. It's a psychological killer movie. He's haunted by things. He's haunted by things in his past, the voices that he hears, but there's a reason for it. And it's also maybe an early slasher. I don't want to say it's a prototype, but it's a very early entry in a kind of that giallo slasher sort of a thing. And it's a tough watch. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's very troubling. It's very uncomfortable. It's a very claustrophobic movie. Zombie is shot on 35mm. It's expansive. It's filmic. It's very huge and big vistas. Shot in the Dominican Republic and in Italy, and it's just huge jungles and stuff like that. But Maniac it takes place in New York City, and it is tight and it's claustrophobic and it's 16mm, so it's gritty and it's grainy and it's close and it's very well done. It's a fantastic movie, and Joe Spinell is of course fantastic in the movie, and it does not let you off the hook at any point in time. It is merciless, but that's what makes it so good. So it's I I really admire the movie. But the special features for this one, disc 1 is, I don't want to say it's light on special features because it's absolutely not, but it's got trailers, TV spots, radio spots, and 2 audio commentaries. I think both of these commentaries are holdovers from previous releases. I think even on that 2018 release, they had already been done. But there's a commentary with William Lustig and the producer Andrew Garoni. And then the second audio commentary is with William Lustig. Tom Savini, who did the makeup in the movie, there's a scene where Tom Savini gets to shoot himself in the face with a shotgun, and it's amazing. And editor Lorenzo Marinelli and Joe Spinell's assistant, Luke Walter. Joe Spinell is no longer with us, so we got his assistant here talking about the man and the movie. Disc 2 is where this thing really shines. So Disc 1 had the 2 commentaries and the trailers, the publicity stuff, the marketing materials. Disc 2, you guys, hold on, buckle up. This is buckle up. So we have 19 minutes of outtakes. We have a feature called Returning to the Scene of the Crime, which is 8 minutes with William Lustig going to the filming locations of the movie. And it's so crazy because there's a super seedy hotel in this movie. It's nasty. It looks like, you can see, you can just see the stories the walls of this place tell. And then he goes back to this filming location. It's like this nice boutique hotel now. It's like super clean. It's this like really cute little expensive hotel. It's just crazy what's happened in New York, man. It's gentrification stuff. There's a 13-minute interview with, it's called Anna and the Killer. And that's with Caroline Munro, who we have to say the lovely Caroline Munro, because of course she is very lovely. Bond girl, she was in one of the Sinbad movies that I love so much. Hammer actress, Caroline Munro. So she's in this movie. She kind of talks about how she, it's really interesting because like her boyfriend or her significant other played a big part in her getting the part in the first place. And then she sees the movie and she's like, wow, that was not on the page. Like, that was crazy how surprising it was to see what a merciless movie this is. The Death Dealer, a 13-minute interview with Tom Savini, where he talks about some of the special effects stuff. Tom Savini, of course, did the special effects on many movies, including Dawn of the Dead, which we're talking about with Zombie. So one of the masters. You guys know Tom Savini is one of the best. Oh, let's see, what is after that? Dark Notes, an interview with the composer Jay Chataway, which runs 13 minutes. Maniac Men, you guys, this is my favorite special feature on the whole kit and caboodle, just because it was so unexpected. The premise of this special feature, it runs 11 minutes, is that there was a rumor that the song from Flashdance, the movie about dancing, She's a Maniac, was inspired by the movie Maniac. And this was perpetuated by Joe Spinell himself. It was kind of a rumor that was just out there. And so the director of the movie, William Lustig, goes to talk to the two writers of Maniac, the song Maniac, and asks them, was it inspired by his movie Maniac? And the answer that comes from that, and then the subsequent performance at the end of this special feature, is incredible. As I say, it's my favorite thing that I love it so much. There is the Joe Spinell story, a 50-minute, this is in standard definition, it's a 50-minute documentary about Joe Spinell. Very sad story. He was, it's very sad. He seems like he was always an outsider, had a hard time. People that knew him loved him. You know, Stallone worked with him multiple times, Nighthawks, multiple Rocky movies, but he seems to have always, he just struggled, and it was really sad to... It's a very well done documentary. Mr. Robbie is it's a Maniac 2 promo reel that runs about 7 minutes, and it's Joe Spinell, what would have been kind of a pitch for a Maniac 2. Like, he wanted to do a sequel, and this is kind of a proof of concept for what that would have been. So that's here. Now here's where this thing really blows us away. I was not prepared for all of this. It has the Maniac publicity. So 112 minutes of publicity for this movie. So, and when people would go on to shows and do interviews, different programs to talk about Maniac, to defend it or whatever need be, 100, almost 2 hours of publicity for this movie on here. And then equally as important and even more unexpected, I think, is there's 43 minutes of footage of controversy. This is local news stations from all across the U.S. talking about the controversy around Maniac. So be like, hi, this is news channel so-and-so, and my name is like Shadow Rock or whatever, and we're talking about Maniac. We're standing outside the theater where Maniac is showing. Sir, have you seen Maniac? Yeah, I saw it. Would you let your wife see Maniac? Oh, no. That sort of, like, 43 minutes of news coverage from around the country talking about Maniac. So all of this totals up together to be like 4 hours and 40 minutes. It's like almost 5 hours of special features on disc 2. And that's not counting your 2 audio commentaries on the first disc. So you are absolutely getting a ton of bang for your buck. The question becomes, if you have the Blu-rays, do you upgrade to 4K? Well, if you are 4K capable, I don't think it's a no-brainer. It's not even a decision to ask yourself. These movies have never looked better. If you love these movies enough to have purchased them before, support the 4K Ultra HD release if you are able to play these movies. If you do have the previous releases, if you don't have the previous releases, then no brainer. These are the ones you want to get. If you're 4K capable, there's no reason not to get these. I just told you all the special features. The only thing you're not getting here is you're not getting the movie on a Blu-ray, which do you need it if you have it on 4K, and you're not getting the CD soundtrack, which is that's not nothing, but the presentations, you guys, these presentations are absolutely stellar. So 4K done right. I'm talking about Blue Underground's new releases of Zombie and Maniac. If we want more 4K Ultra HD releases, we have to support things like this. So guys, that is our review of these 2 titles. I want to thank Blue Underground for sending these to me so that I could review them for you. It was very cool. Did not have to do that. I appreciate it. And I also want to thank you guys for watching this video, for making it all the way to the end. We covered a lot of ground in this one, but as you can see, we are deeply invested in this, and we did the work. So had to share all of it with you. Guys, thanks so much. Take care. And until next time, I will catch you later.